Attention, you are now listening to the Extra Medium Show with your hosts, Alex and Corey.
All right, well, welcome back to another episode of the Extra Medium Show. A very special episode because this is based solely around our countdown movie.
Yep. Star Wars was technically episode 6, but we're gonna kind of. It's easier to just discuss the whole trilogy, I think, as a whole.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That way, you don't have to wait to watch the next one. We can just talk about it all in one shot.
We could probably have one episode per movie if we really wanted to.
Yeah.
But we'll try and do.
Yeah. We're not the experts in the subject. We're fans, but not experts.
No, I mean, you guys are by far more well-versed in the Star Wars universe. I actually just watched the original trilogy for the first time.
You were a virgin
this week. And I enjoyed my experience.
Yeah?
I think so.
Yeah. I think a lot of it holds up well since it's, 40 years old now?
Yeah.
You know, some of them.
Yeah.
I think they added some stuff that made some special effects that made them a little funky, but the movies themselves visually, I think, hold up.
And I kept that in mind when I watched it, like when it came out.
Yeah.
Tried to put myself at that time
Yeah.
and how it would blow people's mind and stuff. But overall, I enjoyed it. I didn't think I would.
They're like the perfect formula for a movie. You know, there's the adventure, there's the action, there's the romance, there's the like lovingness or something, like, you know, how they're friends that make it through.
Yeah.
I think it's like a perfect formula.
Yeah, well, love conquers at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, but I did have questions throughout, which I'm sure some of that's going to get answered in later movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm excited to come out. But I do have questions that I think some people could answer, and for that we have our first ever phone-in guest.
Jay, the Jedi Master. We're gonna call him that for right now. How you doing, Jay?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
It's a monumental moment. Yeah.
Jay, would you consider yourself knowledgeable in the Star Wars universe?
If it was real, I would 100% be in the Jedi Order.
All right.
What color lightsaber would you have?
Oh, dude. So it depends on what we're talking about, because I'm so deep into the Star Wars, just genre. Like, I've watched all the movies, the cartoons, even part of the comic books. So, I definitely have, a yellow one for sure.
I saw a TikTok yesterday, and I guess this person made 6 different TikToks, and they said if this is the one that lands on your For You page, that's the color of your lightsaber.
What'd you get?
Purple.
Oh, yeah.
I'm purple. I'm like Mace Windu.
I believe he's the only one with a purple lightsaber.
Yeah, because Samuel L. Jackson went into it saying, I'm not going to do
Yeah.
this movie unless you give me a fucking purple lightsaber. And they're like, bet.
Yeah, that was a funny story.
You can't say no to Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, yeah. But
Dude, for being a small budget movie, they had a lot of big actors in the prequels, and then even in the sequels.
Yeah.
Now, Harrison Ford, that's a big time name.
Yeah.
Well, he was a carpenter, wasn't he?
Yeah. I don't know if Star Wars.
He was friends with Lucas, and he was working on Lucas's house at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucas asked him to pretty much show these actors how to act, because he knew Harrison Ford had acted, and then he just gave him the part.
Harrison Ford is also a fucking man's man too. So if you have someone to play that part, it's him. But Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, they were pretty known names as far as I know. Correct? Mm-hmm. When they got cast.
I don't know.
I think
for the
so.
70s, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
They were up and coming. I don't think they were anything huge, but Carrie Fisher's mom was real big. So.
Oh. Well, I just think when the first movie came out, 1977. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the movie to look like that, and I heard that when film review critics made their reviews after their first screening, they didn't even know how to describe it. Like Roger Ebert, he said it's you can't put it in words because they've never seen a movie like that.
Right.
You know, it's a
like one of the first space related movies ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as like that was actually good quality and like worth watching.
See,
You know what I mean?
did you guys like Jay? Did you watch Star Wars as a kid? Like you watched that movie as a kid,
Yeah, I did.
the '70s movie?
I think I was like
She had
7.
watched them when they came out in theaters.
Yeah, my dad said
You know what I mean?
when he went to first see it, he saw it 3 times in the movie theater because it was so good. It was like nothing.
Yeah,
had
but
seen.
I'm saying, so Jay, how old were you when you saw A New Hope? That
I mean, I was probably like 5 or 6.
oh, okay. So
Yeah, that's pretty much.
it was
watched it
awesome
since I
for
was a
you
kid,
guys
yeah.
too. I kind of
Yeah.
watched it.
Oh
from
my
it.
gosh, yeah, it was amazing.
It didn't really blow my mind like that, but I could see how it
Yeah.
would.
Well, when you're a kid, like,
Yeah,
you really,
that's
you
what
know
I'm saying.
I mean?
I'm a little jealous of it. I feel like that's
Yeah.
why I'm not as invested into the universe. You know what I mean? Like you guys,
Right.
it's part of your.
Yeah. I had a cousin, and he collected the original Star Wars action figures, and I would go in his room and he would just have hundreds of them. So they always look so cool, so that's what made me want to watch the movies. It was cool.
Those are worth some money now.
Oh, I'm sure he has
You know
a
what's
lot of
re-
stuff on his hands.
You know what's really crazy is that in A New Hope, when the movie first, like the opening scene, when it shows
The
Princess
words.
Leia talking, the words too, but then when it shows Princess Leia, that message when they're reading it in the Death Star
Yeah.
on R2D2 or whatever, like when she's recording it,
Help me,
like
Han
to
Solo.
start a movie yeah, exactly, you're my only hope or whatever.
Yeah.
So like to start a movie out like that with no I mean, they didn't even like relate any backstory of like what that message was about, how she got there,
Yeah.
or anything. You know what I mean? And the movie kind of like makes it out to be like she just got kidnapped because of who she was, which essentially, I mean, that is why. But the reason they kidnapped her is because of what the message was entailing. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
she didn't. It's not that she needed ObiWan Kenobi. She just didn't know who else to call to get what
Right.
she had, the information
Yeah,
that she had
they
out. You
they,
know what I mean?
they don't depict anything else, but it does say it in the words at the beginning.
Well, that
Exactly.
first movie does a really, really, really good job of not giving you all the information so you get
Right.
overwhelmed, but they're really good at spacing it out perfectly for where you just
Right.
get enough to see the next scene and stuff like that, you know?
I don't know that there's
Right,
any other
exactly.
movie that starts off like that either, and they all three did.
Yeah. Yeah. And none of them really had a recap in the beginning. Like the other two sequels didn't have a recap. So like you were basically forced to watch them. You couldn't jump into
The second one.
the second
not
one,
the
and,
first one.
you know, and just see an action movie. But you have to understand the story you only understand the story if you watch the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, and like I think the way that George Lucas like had this planned out, because I'm not so sure that he was planning to have the prequels come out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people say like, oh, he planned it 20 years ahead of time or 30 years ahead of time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not so sure that he really did. I think it's more or less his story just had a lot of loose ends.
Yeah.
And then because he is such a great director and writer and stuff, he was able to tie those in and make a whole, you know,
The storyline
saga out of it.
The
You know what I mean?
storylines are pretty tight as far as like holes, right? In the
Yeah,
Star Wars
so,
universe, there are holes, I would
Right.
assume, but
So the newer ones that like just finished coming out, those take place 30 years after Return of the Jedi.
okay.
And then the prequels, I'm pretty sure the prequels are about the same amount of time before.
Probably
the
like
originals,
20
you know what I mean?
years.
Yeah, I was
However old Luke and Leia are in the first.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, because in the first one they're like, you know, probably
I
like
think he's
late
like
teenagers, early 20s, maybe.
16,
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
Because he's still living at home
Yeah.
with his uncle, and he's talking about joining the
Man,
Resistance,
see,
right?
that's what. Yeah, see, all right. So as a person who had never seen Star Wars before, right?
Yeah.
In my mind, Luke Skywalker was some like hero, like some
Yeah.
warrior, and then I turn on this movie, and I'm like, what in the
He's a
world?
little
He's just like a teenager who got thrown into a conflict, and
Yeah.
somehow he makes it out.
Uh-huh.
And
And it's really Han Solo's movie.
the first one.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, he
could
at
agree
the
with
end,
that.
he's the hero, but
Yeah.
he comes out of nowhere.
I mean, to an extent, yes, but you have to remember, like the original A New Hope, the whole movie from start to finish is about the Skywalkers. You know what I mean? So Han Solo is a key member of that family because of his entrance to the movie and his character and like what he brought to the table.
right.
But at the end of the day, like Han Solo definitely was a big part of A New Hope for sure. And he's a big part of all the movies essentially, but it's mainly about Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia and who they are and how they got to that point in the beginning of the movie. You know what I mean?
The big
Because
picture.
it's like it's a weird movie. Yeah.
Yeah, in the big picture, I can see that, but I walked away. See, it would have been weird too watching that movie knowing that not knowing that there's gonna be a sequel.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Thinking
Exactly.
it's
right.
just a one and done.
Let me
If
ask
you were thinking it's a one and done, I feel like I kind of would have walked away feeling like Han Solo is
Disappointed.
the hero.
Let me ask you this: do you think
mean-
Han Solo is a good person?
I think
Good enough.
I think he turns into
See,
a better person.
They made a mistake when. Well, I don't know if it's a mistake or what, but the first theatrical release. Do you know the scene where he's in the cantina with what's
Yeah.
Jay? What's the guy's name? Greco or
Greedo.
Oh yeah.
Greedo?
Yeah, it's Greedo. Yeah.
Greedo, and he shoots Greedo,
Mm-hmm.
and they say Han fired first. In the theatrical release, it kind of looks like it, and then they made some new animations in it where he moves his neck, and you show Greedo fired
Yeah.
first. So it's like they're painting the picture that he's a good guy, and maybe he's not. He's just
I mean-
still kind of.
I mean, he's
He's,
kinda-
I don't
he's
think
still a
he's a-
smuggler,
yeah.
so he's a
Yeah.
criminal, but he's not.
Yeah, I
like
don't think he's a bad guy. I think it's more or less based off of the movie. He's living in a world that the Empire runs and controls everything. How much money you make.
Yeah.
That's why the storm. If you notice in all the movies, you'll see a lot of stormtroopers in cantinas and anywhere there's people or those people that sell droids to slaves. I mean, look at Luke Skywalker's family. You know what I mean? They live like that because of the Empire.
Yeah.
So I think Han Solo and Chewbacca are just a depiction of someone who found a way to cheat the system more than it's cheating them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's a survivalist. He does what he
Yeah.
has to.
Yeah, plus it seemed like that's pretty common where they live too. He shoots them and then everybody goes back to normal
Yeah.
within 2
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, it
it's
wasn't
not-
a big deal.
Yeah, like that's just kind of what you got to do.
And not to mention Greedo was a bounty hunter. You know what I mean?
Would you consider these movies westerns?
No.
No.
Like a space western.
Yeah.
Space western. 100%.
Well, that scene right there is a classic western scene
Yeah, he's
with
in a
Han
bar-
and
bar.
Greedo.
He's in a bar.
So any
Yeah, you
any
take the-
conflict
you
in a
take the
bar is a
cantina.
western.
No, but
No.
tell me that scene doesn't
No.
play out like a western.
But if you take that
Outlaw
cantina
town.
and put swinging, if you take that cantina, call it a saloon, and put swinging doors on the front, that's exactly what it is.
I think you
Yeah.
can do that with
You
a
know
lot
what I
of
mean?
movies though.
Yeah, but they're on
I
the
mean, that's
run
true. But
from the, the authorities, the Empire, and they're in part of like a gang almost.
The Mandalorian's definitely like a western, but
Yeah.
that's a different.
I would say it's
Oh,
more.
yeah.
I would say it's more like a war movie, like a
Some people say they're like samurai movies also.
yeah.
I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
yeah, to an extent.
Yeah.
So for me, the most likable is Chewbacca
Oh, definitely.
because he's the most
Oh, yeah,
loyal.
100%.
And
Yeah,
he's
a real one.
all throughout the 3 movies, the people all kind of let me down at different points.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because they're people.
Chewbacca never let anybody down,
Yeah.
and except when he took the bait on Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah.
And they got caught, but it ended up working out for him. And R2D2 doesn't really let anybody down.
I mean, R2D2 is like the face of Star Wars.
Wow.
Do you know who played R2D2? Danny DeVito.
Oh, get out of here. He probably could have.
That's an inside joke. Our friend
Any role
Jay.
with his face isn't in a movie.
Jay is not a fan of Danny DeVito, so we had to find a way to bring him up somehow.
What so Corey, since this is your first time watching all the movies, which one did you like the best?
I liked A New Hope. I was I was like pleasantly surprised. And then I liked Return of the Jedi, except there were a few like music scenes, like choreographed dance scenes almost. But
What?
I don't know what to call it. Like, I mean, I guess when they were in the I don't know. It just seemed weird to me, and I was like, what is this? There were several times where people were singing and like monsters were singing and dancing, and I was like, it's kind
Yeah,
of
Isn't
that's
there
like
one-
one of the most iconic. That's like one of the most iconic parts of Star Wars when they're in the cantina and those weird looking monsters are playing the music.
maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Dude, that, like, I mean, you'll learn this, but that is like one of the most iconic things about Star Wars. That song, it's in like everything that has to do with Star Wars.
and then he makes him
That's
play it
the point.
again.
Bro,
Yeah,
if you play Lego Star Wars, you'll get sick
I liked
of that song.
I liked
100%.
how Jabba was kind of like Pablo Escobar-ish. He was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he had a slave. He took like he had slaves.
So
like,
Jabba has a big role in almost all the movies.
Leia.
Well, and obviously, like, you know, not after Return of the Jedi, but
yeah, gets choked
you know what I
out.
mean. But the prequel, yeah, he's in the prequels too.
There will be spoilers throughout this. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's 40 years old, so we're gonna do our
Yeah, I don't
best.
consider spoilers if
Right.
the movie's over 10 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
So it seemed that R2D2 was strictly a bot, a computer that didn't really. He just operated whatever he was programmed to do. Right.
right,
Yeah.
So, well, in Star
3PO,
Wars,
right?
Yeah.
So, well, like
What I don't.
in-
It seems like they can't. To me, I had the question I had. It seemed like they couldn't make up their mind on who's a robot and who's a like.
Well, 3PO is a different kind of robot. He's a butler. I forget
he's a
what.
servant. He's like a servant.
I
He's like-
understand
Yeah.
that, but like, there's points he panics.
Yeah, because that's
Well, see, there's a
personality.
backstory. There's a backstory to that, and you don't know until you watch the prequels.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
So like, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna watch them, but like,
No, go ahead.
C-3PO
I have
was
all.
created-
There's a lot that's already been spoiled for me, so I'm not worried.
Right,
about
yeah. So it's no big deal. I mean, and plus you still gotta watch it. But
Yeah.
like R2D2, so the R2 units,
Yeah.
they're like, remember in A New Hope when Luke Skywalker was buying those units from the scrap people,
Yeah.
and he ended up buying C-3PO and R2. Well, R2D2, the R2 units are made for. They're mainly made for ships. Like they're like navigation. They fix your
Yeah,
ship
because
when
he
it's
always puts them
damaged.
on. He always puts them on the ship when he. when he-
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what the R2 units are for. And then C-3PO, the backstory, which you're going to find out when you watch the prequels,
Mhm.
is Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, actually made C-3PO, and he actually he built him and everything. So he made him super smart and super like realistic to help his mom whenever he wasn't around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why C-3PO is built different. That's why he panics and has more emotion and things like that compared to like the other C-3PO units that are around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because all the other ones seem to be like very direct and programmed.
Yeah.
And then
And
there's-
when he
almost
made
done.
He made him
C-3PO,
for,
he was a kid too.
yeah.
So he's not gonna
Yeah.
make him like.
He didn't make
intense.
him like professional, like
Yeah.
how an assembly line made. He put a lot of like effort into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but he can't feel pain.
No.
No, well he did
no,
that. No, it's
no,
just,
he gets-
that's just
he
a
gets-
comedic.
yeah.
That's just
comedic
that's
effect.
just supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Had-
Well, even
Yeah.
like even at when I think it's in Return of the Jedi, they're getting like they're branding the bots.
Yeah.
They're branding it, and
Yeah.
the one's like screaming and stuff, and I'm like, what? Like,
Right.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah, that's just like a
that's just
comedic thing, like-
effect. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's like an ongoing thing in all the movies. So
R2
it's
has a
always
big
like
role.
funny thing.
R2 has a big role, I think, in
Oh, he's
all
a huge,
the
he's a huge
movies.
part of Star Wars.
Every
Yeah,
movie, I think so.
Both the robots are in every
Yeah.
single movie.
Yeah. In one way or another.
Yeah, R2 is huge.
Yeah. R2 knows the whole
Because
story.
I'm trying to remember, because R2, I don't know if you guys remember. I'm trying to remember where he even like came. Was he just in the movie? Like was he just in the movie, in the prequels, or was there like an intro to him?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because C-3PO was built by Anakin, but I want to say R2
In the
was
first
just a part
movie-
of the movies.
In the first movie, he was just a droid in a lineup of droid on the princess's ship. Not the princess,
Oh,
but
that's
the
right. Oh no,
Queen's-
no, that's
queen's
right.
ship.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that survived, and he made it so the
Right.
ship survived as well. So that's why
Exactly.
young Anakin took a liking to R2D2 and made it his personal droid, pretty much.
Yeah,
And that's how
right.
R2D2 got introduced into the universe.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
All right, so I have questions written down because as I was watching it, I was like, "There's
He
things
was
that don't make
studying.
sense." All
Right.
right, so blasters, right? The
Okay.
guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they? What kind of ammo do they? I didn't see a single person reload.
Well,
What do they?
they recharge.
I think it's more or less like I think it's like a plasma like recharge type thing.
Okay.
And the only reason I know that is because like the video game,
Okay.
like you know.
Yeah.
The damage seems kind of
But
inconsistent.
there are
as well,
guns that use ammunition. Like if you watch The Mandalorian, his main rifle uses bullets.
You know why?
Sorta.
That
Well,
is?
It's
well, I
also
don't
in the
know
future though.
The Mandalorians went back to ammunition weapons once the Mandalorian War started against the Jedi, because they realized the Jedi could block energy-based weapons, but they could not block against an ammunition-fired gun because it would just cut in half or ricochet, but still cause damage. That's why the Mandalorians used those guns, because they were fighting the Jedi.
That makes sense. What else you got, Corey?
So I'm assuming Princess Leia is the princess of Alderaan.
Yeah.
The king and queen died when the Death Star blew it up.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then where are they at when she gives them an award at the end of A New Hope?
Endor?
Is it Endor?
I'm pretty sure they're at. I'm pretty sure they're in Endor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they based the whole movie around Endor as like their new place. And if you think about it too, even in the sequels, remember that final battle? It's in Endor too. So I'm thinking that's what's going on.
But she doesn't hold any royalty in Endor.
No, she's just like the face of the
No.
resistance.
Because she's kind of like presenting
the face
the
of the
award. I
rebellion.
thought,
She's the head general. Or is she the head general? Maybe.
She's
At
the
some
face of the
point she
rebellion.
is.
she made out with her brother.
Well,
That's
hey.
Kind of brushed over that.
That is something that was not
it was in the
going on.
70s, so let's take that into account.
A couple times.
Well, you got to be sure.
And they just kind of were like, like they didn't even.
At least.
Yeah, but if you think about it though, in a real life situation, if you didn't know.
I mean, yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
You look back at it and you're like, that was disgusting. But
I guess the universe was drawing them towards each other, but they just didn't know why. Okay, so they addressed it when in Return of the Jedi, when 3PO has to translate the Ewoks. But other than that, it seems like everybody can speak to everybody, regardless of what planet they're from.
Well, I think it's more or less like I see what you're saying. C-3PO, when Anakin Skywalker made him, was programmed to know like every language.
Yeah, and he says that.
But as far as like people understanding the droids and stuff, I think it's more or less like they're around them all the time and like they just kind of figure it out. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those unspoken things that you just kind of assume.
But there's all kinds of different creatures.
I
that
think
understand
honestly,
each other.
after watching the newer movies, it's just a matter of production. It was easier for people to just understand each other than to come up with different languages.
But they reference the fact that there's different languages.
well, look at Chewie. Harrison Ford could understand him because he's been around him so long, but other people could not understand what Chewie was saying.
Yeah.
Because when Luke came on the ship, he had no idea what Chewie was saying.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of who knows what language.
Okay.
Because no
That's
one
fair.
knew what Jabba was saying, because Jabba's the Hutt. The Hutt's race is so old that not a lot of people who haven't interacted with them know their language.
That's a valid point.
That makes
Yeah, that's why Jabba has that little like that dude with like the long like tentacle head.
Yeah.
That kind of translates for him.
Yeah.
Standing next to him. Because that's kind of what because that dude translates to Boba Fett a lot for him in the old movies.
And that's why in the 6th movie, Luke sends in 3PO for Jabba the Hutt as a gift
Yeah.
to try to get Harrison Ford out, but Jabba declines it, but he still takes the droid.
Was he really just gonna give him up?
Nah.
No.
Because I was like, dang, that's
Luke's a
messed
killer.
up. He's not a
Yeah,
killer.
he
proves that.
did that to plan ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he set it up so he could get in there, sneak in, get everything out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Corey, who's your favorite character so far?
I like Chewbacca just because he's doesn't ask questions and he's the most loyal. I thought Leia was kind of, I don't know,
Bitchy.
just back and forth. But at the beginning, before I knew that she was Luke's sister, She was kind of just back. Whoever was around, she was kissing on screen. It was weird, and they never like addressed it. I liked Jabba.
Really?
Yeah. Just, I mean, as a bad guy, of course. Like,
Yeah.
his role.
He
I think
just runs
my favorite character from the prequels is probably, or the sequels. I mean, is probably, I'm gonna say Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I think he was really cool, and then obviously Darth Vader, hands down.
Which
You know
guy's
what I mean?
Boba Fett?
And I
the
think a
green
strong
bounty
third
hunter.
is Emperor Palpatine.
Boba Fett is.
Wait, you like the Emperor?
Yeah, he was pretty. I thought his character was pretty cool
Yeah.
for being for the time frame. You know what I mean?
He was
And the
alright.
same actor plays him in the prequels too, which is kind of cool.
I'm gonna say Boba Fett and Lando. I really like Lando.
I didn't like Lando
Oh,
because
Lando
he seemed
Calrissian.
like a snitch.
Hey,
He had to, though.
he played what he had to play.
Yeah. I don't hold that against him.
You know.
He
And you have to remember Lando Calrissian, even though he's got money and he's like rich and like powerful, but he's also the same exact character as Han Solo. Like they're literally both criminals. Like they had like
Yeah.
Lando Calrissian just made it. He made more money off it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, and look
So
at
when you
who
watch the
owns
movie
the
Solo,
Millennium Falcon,
It'll tell you.
or who?
Yeah, Lando Calrissian actually that's actually his ship,
Yeah.
and Han Solo won it in a game of chance.
And you know who plays young Lando? Donald Glover.
Donald Glover.
okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Is that in
I'm
the?
a big Donald Glover fan.
What is that
I
in?
think everybody-
Solo?
Solo.
Yeah, that's in Solo.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep watching. But you brought up money, and that's another question I had. Is it just a universal currency? Everybody uses the same
yeah.
money.
I
Planets
think it's got,
like
like
Everybody-
Imperial credits
yeah,
or something like
everybody
that.
in the Empire uses Imperial credits. Outside, even on Tatooine, because they're like on the border between being in the Empire and being just like an outer planet. Some people will accept the Imperial credits, but others will not. You'll learn that in the prequels. If you continue watching.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's
How long has the Empire been in power?
Since the
probably
third movie?
20.
Well, as far as that one goes, 30 years. Well, roughly. I mean, however, from whenever Luke Skywalker, however old Luke Skywalker is, leading up to Return of the Jedi, that's how long they've been in power. So in the 20s, I would say.
Yeah, because before that they were the Galactic Senate.
Exactly. Which is essentially the Empire, just a different name. But
Yeah. It was more like it was a Senate. From all
yeah, it was kind of like modern day democracy, like where they voted on things and everything. You know what I mean?
they had a chancellor.
And then it basically
So I'll
gets
see
switched
that.
over to
I'll
a
see all
dictatorship.
that in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the main the
yep.
prequel trilogy. It's a lot about politics. There's kind of
Yeah,
more
the whole
politics
thing's
than
about politics.
fighting.
And that's why George Lucas decided to go with 4, 5, and 6 for the opening ones, because he thought there was more action in them
Yeah.
to draw in a bigger crowd.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, because the first ones didn't really have a lot of there was fighting scenes, but like you said, there was more of a politic and a movement towards the main conflict of the whole universe.
So, I got my wife into this too, watching everything with me. She was so disappointed in the Luke, you are my father, or I am your father.
You know-
Even I
you
messed
know
it up.
that-
Cut that.
You know that saying is one of the most misquoted.
That's what I'm saying. She's
Tropes
like,
in movies.
she was like, "That's it."
Yeah,
And I was like, "I think
everyone
that's
thinks
it."
it's Luke, I am your father, but
Yeah.
in fact, it's
Yeah,
no, I am your father.
Yeah,
There's no Luke anywhere in that line.
Yeah.
right.
she was pretty bummed out.
Well, like she was bummed out about the saying or about that. part of the
Just
movie?
like she was like waiting for that. You know what I mean? Because she knew it was gonna happen. And then-
And then he
Oh,
didn't say it
right,
like
right.
that.
yeah, and she was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's
There's like a whole nother like once you watch them all, like if you really pay attention to like the fine detail, there's a ton of answers that like questions that get answered that are like that they left in the dark on purpose, like back then.
Mhm.
Like in the scene in A New Hope when ObiWan Kenobi just like doesn't die but disappears.
Yeah.
Like, all that's explained. It's not even explained in the movies. You have to watch the cartoon series, the Clone Wars, to get to that. Like, well, what that even means. You know what I mean?
no, I don't know what it means. Go, keep going."
That's what I'm saying. So like,
Because
When I
he
first
doesn't
watched that,
die.
I just thought he died. Right, you know what I mean? Like when I first watched that scene, like where Darth Vader when he says, "Oh, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you ever can imagine," or whatever.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, he just puts his lightsaber away and disappears after he sees Luke. Well, there's like a whole like thing behind that, and what it is, you're going to find out some of this. Or Obi-Wan Kenobi, he was tasked with taking Luke Skywalker when he was a child to Tatooine and basically giving him to his aunt and uncle, and basically looking over him his whole life as like a guardian angel type deal. You know what I mean? But from the shadows. So, and that scene where Luke Skywalker is trying to bust out of the Death Star, and Obi-Wan's fighting Darth Vader.
yeah,
When he looks over and sees Luke Skywalker with his sister, and sees that they're linked up and they're fighting and they're basically doing what they're destined to do. That's when he basically puts his lightsaber away and accepts like he's did what he can do, and now it's he's got his own path. So in the cartoon, which actually there's a small, make a long story short because you kind of got to watch it to understand it, but long story short, in the end of Revenge of the Sith, when Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia are born, Yoda tells Obi-Wan Kenobi, he says, "You know what? You take Luke Skywalker to Tatooine and you watch over him for the rest of your days, pretty much." You know what I mean? And then Yoda tells Obi-Wan, "I've got some training to do on my own at the Dagobah system." And he says that he's had recent contact with Obi-Wan's master, which is Qui-Gon, which is Liam Neeson from The Phantom Menace, which he got killed by Darth Maul. You know what I'm saying? So Obi-Wan is like shocked to hear that. He's like, "What do you mean? Like you got contact from my master? Because he died. So how's that possible?" And that's something they just kind of throw under there. Like they don't even explain it. They just throw it in there.
yeah,
So then when the cartoon comes out, it actually shows Yoda getting his training, and he's talking to Qui-Gon, which is like a ghost in the cartoon.
yeah.
And he's teaching him how to be basically so powerful with the Force that you can basically leave this earth, like leave your body, but still be alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then that's basically what Obi-Wan did, but you have to be like super strong in the Force to be able to do that. So at the end of that movie, when Obi-Wan finally seen that his like course was up, and he noticed that he seen that Luke was ready to be on his own and didn't need protecting anymore, that's why he just didn't even bother fighting Darth Vader. You know what I mean? He just Force ghosted out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, in what I saw, they show the ghost version of him now.
Yeah, but he's not really a
Right, at the
ghost.
end of the
He's like
movie.
one with the Force.
But they show him throughout
Right.
the whole. They show
Sure, yeah.
Obi throughout the whole
Yeah.
thing as a ghost. So I assumed he wasn't like
Oh, yeah, just
dead.
like-
Dead.
Yeah, like when he was on Hoth and he tells him to go to the Dagobah system
Mhm.
when he's looking in the sky. He's like, Ben, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's kind of like a they're kind of guiding him still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he was ready to be on his own, but he still needs guidance. You know what I'm saying?
I did notice that he called him Ben until he was a Jedi, and then he started calling him Obi-Wan.
I never noticed.
Yeah, because he didn't know that. So that's the thing. Because when in A New Hope, when the droids, when they're reading that message, and
Yeah.
it says Kenobi, like Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi,
He
he's
knows
like,
him as Ben
I
the
wonder
whole
if he
time.
means old Ben.
But
You know
even
what I mean?
even after he tells him that he's Obi-Wan, like when he sees the ghost version of him, even he calls him Ben. But then once he goes and
Yeah.
meets Yoda and gets training as a Jedi, he sees the ghost of him and he refers to him as Obi-Wan, like he's
Yeah.
a Jedi as well. Like
He shows him the
it's like
proper
symbolic
respect.
almost.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Well, he finally just like accepts like his fate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
It's
love.
a super, like once you watch the newer ones, you're really gonna like them a lot. Like a lot of people hate the really new ones, like the sequel trilogies.
Yeah.
But like honestly, like I think there's a few things they could have did different, but for what it is, I think that they were great. Like I honestly wouldn't change anything.
I loved the music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Was that like
Legitimate
Was that
orchestra.
just? Yeah, that was just an orchestra throughout the. They just
Yeah.
played throughout the movie. And what's that called? When music starts and that represents a character.
Oh shit.
Like it did in M, the
Yeah.
movie M, when the whistling would come.
Yeah, I don't remember what that word is.
Yeah, I don't remember what that's called.
But it's when you hear a certain melody or something, you can expect that character. Each character has their own like melody, And you, even if you've never seen Star Wars, you know the main melodies from Star Wars just from being alive, basically, right? Like Everyone
Oh
knows
yeah, 100%.
the Darth Vader or the Imperial March. Everyone knows that. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But the thing that I thought was the coolest thing that like I got like excited about the score when it was happening when in Return of the Jedi they get in the rebellion gets into a Imperial fighter to get back onto the moon.
Yeah.
To get through the shield, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's a mix. Like it cuts in, and it's like it's the Imperial song mixed with the Luke Skywalker song. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it's like a half and half thing,
Yeah.
and it's awesome, and it like got me excited.
I mean, the music tells just as good of a story.
Yeah.
Well, that made me think of a question I was going to ask you. Do you think there was a chance that Luke was going to turn dark? Did you at all think that was going to happen? Because he kind of goes through a little phase right there.
Yeah, I believe there's always that chance of any Jedi going dark, but since Ben trained him the way he did, and Yoda trained him the way he did.
But I feel like he wasn't
fought
nearly
off.
as trained up as Darth Vader.
Yeah, like
No, he wasn't.
physically and
Darth Vader was like, I
one
might
of
be
the
wrong.
most powerful.
Yeah,
So like, how did
best swordsman?
They made it seem like, I mean, how long? Jay, do you know how long, like time period it's supposed to be between when he meets Yoda in Empire Strikes Back to the?
I mean, it's probably like 2 to 3 years.
See, I feel like that's nothing.
But the thing you have to remember though, because I know what you mean. Like, how does Luke Skywalker, this kid who just learned how to be a Jedi, be the person who's supposed to be the greatest?
Yeah.
And once you watch all the movies and you get like the emotional like side of Darth Vader,
See,
Darth Vader never ever wanted to kill Luke Skywalker from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he never ever was trying to kill him, even though they were fighting and he cut his hand off and all that.
yeah.
At the end of the day, once you watch the prequels, Anakin Skywalker's ultimate downfall was his love for his wife. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that was his weak point. So when he found out that he has kids, it was like it brought back all those emotions. Like, you have to think, like, they don't explain this, but you have to just like put yourself in his shoes.
Yeah.
So when he found out that Luke Skywalker was his son, and he knows that all the struggles that he had as a young boy, like how Luke Skywalker is, from the get-go, he never ever wanted to kill him or hurt him, and that's why he ultimately defended him there at the end when because Anakin Skywalker is pretty much the strongest Jedi to ever even touch the face of the planet as far as the universe, as far as Star Wars goes. And the Emperor is the one who turned him into Darth Vader. You know what I mean? By working his emotions against him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Well, I guess at
Darth
the end
Vader
of
didn't want to see that happen.
at the end of the day, Luke Skywalker didn't defeat the Empire.
No, he didn't.
Darth Vader
Right.
destroyed it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Darth Vader killed his
Yes.
master in a fit of rage because he was hurting his son, pretty much.
Yeah. I
Right,
wouldn't even
exactly.
call it a fit of rage. It seemed calculated.
And honestly, so if you think about this, you know, 'cause I don't. Obviously, you have to watch it. So there's probably you guys can definitely make a whole other episode about this, like for the next trilogy. But
Right.
like, you know, when Anakin was a kid, you know, when they found out that he was force sensitive, so to speak, you know, when they found out that he has the qualities to be a Jedi, when they, you know, they basically tested his blood and everything and said like this dude's got more like DNA than Yoda has as far as force
Midichlorians.
sensitivity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when they did this, they were going along the fact that they said there was like an ancient prophecy saying that there's going to be a young Jedi come up who basically he was fitting all the parameters. You know what I mean? And they said that he was going to be the chosen.
Force.
Exactly, he was going to be the chosen one, but the Jedi didn't know exactly what that meant. What bring to the Force is. They think just be great and just be able to defeat the Sith, but that wasn't the case. So at the end of the Return of the Jedi, Anakin fulfilled that prophecy because he was already, you know, he learned how to be ObiWan was his master, so he learned how to be a Jedi. He did the right things. He became evil, went to the dark side, but then he did what no Sith had ever done before, and he came back to the light before he died. You know what I mean? So at that point, he brought, like, right when he died, and Luke Skywalker was trying to save him, he brought balance to the Force. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he found the balance between good and evil.
So
Finally, I mean, unfortunately, at his last breath, but he did it though.
why was Luke the chosen one and not Leia? because she has this ability as well.
Luke wasn't the chosen one. Anakin was the theory the chosen one, but Luke was just the one that they trained, and he was more force connected.
Right, but why did Leia get to stay with her mom?
It wasn't her. No,
It wasn't her
That's
mom.
not her mom.
That wasn't her.
Okay.
They
No,
split-
yeah, her
they
mom
s-
died at childbirth.
Yeah, they split
Okay.
them up after she died.
Yeah, she
Okay.
goes to live
This
with
is
the
in
senator.
episode 3.
Right. Okay. I figured, but I was just
You'll figure all that out.
I was just wondering. Yeah, I don't want to keep you too long. I had a couple questions. I think I got through mostly everything.
Yeah, once you watch the other ones, you'll have a lot of stuff answered.
The Imperial Walker is the worst designed battle
I know,
device
right?
I've ever seen.
AT-AT.
In the second one,
They
they
just
wrap.
trip 'em with the
Yeah,
cables.
it's the dumbest thing in a world where you can fly all over the place. You have the slowest moving things. I didn't understand that.
Well, how about this? You notice that the stormtroopers never land their shots.
Yeah. Well, I
You know,
I feel like they address it in the first one because, in A New Hope, because when they put on the stormtrooper outfit, they're running around like, I can't see anything in this helmet, and they're running like they can't.
yeah.
So I think that might be why.
A
Maybe
big
they can't see
theory
anything.
of that is two stormtroopers derived from clone troopers, and every clone trooper was like the perfect soldier, but all those clones have, in the time, died. Most of them have died, so now they're just regular people wearing stormtrooper uniforms.
That's a good point. I didn't. I never thought
They're
about
not
that.
trained soldiers. Like the clones were perfect soldiers.
They were
And-
bred to be
yeah,
warriors.
yeah. The stormtroopers are just fucking a farmer from Tatooine that joined the Empire. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
true. That's true. Because if you think about it, when Order 66 happened, all the clone troopers killed all the Jedi.
Right.
So they obviously were hitting their shots.
Right. Right. Yeah, they were perfect soldiers. These are just regular people.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Well, yeah. Well, I was pleasantly surprised with
Yeah.
the trilogy. I was. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but
They're fun, really good movies.
Yeah.
You know? Nothing about it. Like, it's not great acting. It's not great special effects at times, but it's just great.
for the time though, it
Yeah.
was.
For the 70s and early
Like they go
80s.
into light speed and stuff. That's
That's
sweet
cool.
for 1977. That's pretty.
They
sweet.
only get better too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Is like, well, when I'm watching, like my wife's watching it with me, and like I keep telling her, like it's only gonna get more watchable. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
100%. Yeah.
I'm nervous about the prequel trilogy for you. Because
Really?
it gets a little
dry.
yeah, but I get in. I like
It,
good dialogue
it
and
explains
stuff.
a lot.
Yeah.
The first
You-
three
like, yeah.
explains a
Yeah,
lot.
I don't mind. I mean, I'll try and.
I mean, there's fight scenes and there's battle scenes.
I'm just happy to understand some pop culture now. Like, to be honest with you, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff out there that I see and I don't get. Now I kind of understand.
a lot of different like memes and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I have one more. Does anybody else have a question? Any other questions for Jay? While we have him, Star Wars, get it in. So the Force can only be passed down genetically.
No. So when Obi-Wan's explaining the Force to Luke in A New Hope,
Uh-huh.
and he tells him it's in everything we do, it's all around you all the time. The Force kind of basically chooses who is Force sensitive and who isn't. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like more or less a random selection. But
It
with
seems
the
like
movies being around the Skywalkers, it falls down the pipe to Luke Skywalker a lot stronger than it would someone else. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, in the trilogy, there's 5 people I think total that have the Force, and 3 of them are related. So
Well, once you watch the first one,
Mhm.
they explain to Anakin when he's younger how that works. Also, it's in the midichlorians, right? And why he's selected versus why his mom does not have any signs of being Force sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a theory behind that. I'm not going to go
We'll
into
talk
that.
about that when we talk about the
Yeah,
prequel
there's
trilogy.
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You can get into.
Yeah.
But-
But that also explains it. Like I said, the first 3 explains a lot of the backstory, a lot of how things are in this universe.
If you notice, when like Obi-Wan and Yoda are talking about the Force, they're talking about how beautiful it is. They're describing it in detail, and you know how it's everywhere. It's anything. And then when the Siths talk about the dark side, all they can do is like simple things of like hate and stuff. You know, they don't talk about it as nicely.
They just talk about the power it possesses.
Yeah, they don't talk.
They don't talk about, you know, how they...
Like, the Force is nature. The Force is just everything. But the dark side is just you focus on the hate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, Jay?
Yeah, so, like, the dark side is fueled by hate, like, all the dark side stuff. That's why, like, you don't ever see a good Jedi shoot electricity out of their hands, you know what I'm saying, normally. And that's because it's fueled... The dark side's fueled by hatred, you know what I mean? So all the weird stuff that they can do, and like the lightsabers being red and things like that, that's all fueled by hatred and anger and things like that. And that's why all the good Jedis have green, blue, purple, you know what I mean? Huh. And you don't see them doing like, you know, electricity and things like that, you know what I mean?
The color of the lightsabers means something too, right?
Yeah.
Well, like when George Lucas made the movies, blue and green were supposed to be the good, you know, the good guys, and the red were supposed to be the bad guys. But then obviously Samuel L. Jackson was the, you know, he was the exception there. But if you dig deeper, like you'll see pictures online of like yellow lightsabers, and even in the prequels or in the sequels, you know, Rey ends up with a yellow lightsaber, and there's stories about that too. But that's something that's for a whole other episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe there's like the blues for knights, the yellows for sentinels, and greens are guardians.
Yeah.
Red just, you know, the dark side.
Yeah.
But each one means a different thing. I mean, you can kind of tell just by the names of them.
Yeah.
You know, what they're for.
Yeah.
I think yellow are people like on the fence of like...
Jay, have you seen on YouTube there's a guy who made a real lightsaber?
With the plasma?
Yeah, I have seen
can like cut metal and stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're getting close.
Jay, would you
has to be plugged in though, I think.
Would you go down to Disney and make your own lightsaber like they do?
You can do that?
I would like to know how much it was.
It's like $200.
That's not bad.
And you can
buy
to
me, if you're making a trip, that it would be something that you should plan for ahead of time just to do it.
I thought you were going to say
like
something crazy.
You know what I mean?
No. And it's cool because you can customize your hilt and pick your kyber crystal. That's what makes your color.
But I heard those aren't the best quality.
No, because you can't really duel.
No, there's like a whole
them.
TikTok thing that
but they do sell like
the best kind
people
of.
manufacture like hardcore lights, you know, fake lightsabers, right, made out of sturdy materials that they duel with.
I'd love to see you fighting with one of them. That'd be so cool.
I'd be making the sound effects and everything.
All right. Well, if we don't have anything else, Jay, is there anything you got going on? You want to talk about? Anything you want to plug?
Nope.
Nothing?
Nope, that was it. I appreciate you guys having me.
Just Jay. All right, that's what's up. I appreciate you coming on. We'll have you on for another Star Wars episode in the future.
Jay, let's talk about
let's
talk about your fishing channel. I want to shout you out again. All right, you deserve it. You answered these questions like a champ. So everyone listening,
I didn't answer them and then not answer.
Plug your stuff. You'll do it better than I will.
If you guys are into the whole fishing thing, I do YouTube and I'm on Instagram as well. And you can find me under Fishman TV, all one word. And I'm always posting different stuff. I try to post a video once a week, and there's gonna be some more stuff. So if you're into fishing and outdoors type stuff, check it out. If not, that's cool too.
You don't even have to be into fishing though, because I'm not into fishing.
I've honestly learned stuff from your videos.
Yeah.
Like what a Ned rig is.
Yeah, you just gotta like outdoorsy stuff. And, You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're fun. You're a fun guy, and we appreciate you. All right.
Thanks.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, guys.
See ya.
See you later.
All right, well, man. I think that's gonna wrap it up for us.
Yeah, that felt good. That was good.
Yeah, I feel good about.
We kind of spoiled a little bit into the future, but it's fine. It's not going to take away from the movie.
I mean, the movies are old enough.
Yeah.
Most people
we didn't really talk about the newest trilogy, so that's fine.
Yeah. It'll work out. I had things spoiled for me that I knew were going to happen before I watched those, and I still enjoyed them. I would recommend it if you've never seen. I know a lot of people have never seen Star Wars.
Yeah, well,
so I would recommend it. Get into it.
It seems like there's a lot of people that either love it or hate it.
Well, it just seems like such a if you've never seen it, it seems like a lot.
Yeah.
There's so much, and it's so deep to like start that.
Yeah.
I agree to that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did.
You're almost scared to hop into it
Well, that's
Like,
how I
there's
feel
so
about Lord of the Rings. But it's the same deal,
Yeah.
right? It's a lot to take in.
There's a very big backstory to both those universes.
Right.
But
But
when you tell somebody who's been into that universe for so long that you've never seen it,
yeah,
they judge you.
yeah. So, but watch it. Watch Star Wars. Watch Lord of the Rings. Watch it all.
Well, let's not get crazy because I tried to watch Lord of the Rings and then I fell asleep. So
If you have 4 weeks of time to devote to it,
I'm
watch
gonna
Lord
try.
of the
I'm gonna
Rings.
try to do it again because we're gonna do Lord of the Rings episode,
Yeah.
whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
I can't wait because Shaman's in love with it, and
I can almost say that
I'm
those
gonna
movies
battle.
line for line.
All right.
all right. Well, that's it. You gonna wrap it up?
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening again. And remember, we always appreciate likes and follows on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. And if you guys have any show ideas, let us know. We're open to anything. But I think that's going to do it for us today. So stay safe. All right.
Peace.